All right, gang. Today, what I want to go over with you guys is box and whisker plots or box plots. I know you guys have had those in years past, and so hopefully this is for the most part a review for you. Um, some things to think about. Why do we use box plots? Because it takes a bunch of data points, it takes a bunch of numbers, which can look daunting if you look at a lot of numbers, and puts it into a simple graph. And the graph is a picture of all of those numbers. And so then you can take a look at that picture and say, here's what I'm noticing. And that's what we want to be able to do. So it does say, the worksheet does say human box plot. However, if we had time in class the other day to go ahead and take your shoe sizes, which was my intent, I would have you use those data points right now. But if we did not have time, it's not a big deal. You can just jot down the numbers and kind of follow along with me. So what I'm going to do is I am going to get rid of myself again. There you go. And here's what I've done down here. I've made up a scenario where I love playing basketball, and so a person, Johnny, Susie, Sam, they were playing a basketball game, several basketball games, 7 games in a row, and each time they scored a different number of points. Okay, or these number of points. So this is 7 straight games of the points they scored. And so as we take a look over here, what I did was, I guess it was already ordered from least to greatest. I don't know why I rewrote that. But if you look here, we want to make sure that our numbers are ordered. So when it says right here, what's the first step we have to establish? We have to establish the order of all the numbers. And I'm even going to jot down here from L to G, okay, least to greatest, all right? Now from there, we then are going to find the median number. Now the median in this case, if I take my smallest and largest, match them up, and just keep working my way through, you probably remember this from previous years, that right there is our median number, okay, median number. From there, I want to go ahead and take a look at, so this is the median. I don't know how you guys remember the median. For me, when I think of the median, I think about my days when I was learning to drive. And they talked about there could be a boulevard that separated 2 directions of traffic. I also have that green patch of grass on I-75 that separates the north and southbound lanes. We oftentimes refer to that as the median of the, I guess, of the road, okay? And so when I think of median, I'm thinking the middle number, all right? For step number 3, if we go there, now want to break up the first and second half of the graph, or of the data. So if I take this first half of the data and I find the middle number, 10 and 14 cancel out. This is our middle number right here, okay? And we're actually going to call that the first quartile. If I take the middle of the second data, 17 and 21 cancel out. This is our third. 19 is our third quartile. Okay? So altogether, you'll notice here's our first 25%, second 25%, third 25%, and fourth 25%. And these numbers divide them up. First quartile, second quartile, third quartile, and that would be it. Okay? So the middle of the first half of data points is called the first quartile. Okay? And the middle of the second half of data is called the third quartile. Okay? All right, now, we also had 2 more step forward. Who were they? And, all right, now, what this is referencing here is this. We have 2 more data points that we have to identify. This one and this one. Does anybody know what we would call this one? It's the very first number. We would call that the minimum. And this one here would be considered your maximum. Okay, the largest number. So again, we also need to minimum and maximum. Okay. The last step before you actually go ahead and finish everything up, putting it on the graph, is to determine the scale for your graph. Okay. So when I look at going from 10 to 21, I think we can go every 5 here. 15, 20, 25, okay, 30, 35. Okay, it all depends on what your numbers are. Your scale is going to change. You don't want your scale, to be too condensed, too small. If it's too small, then your picture is going to be hard to analyze. And the wider we can get that scale, the better, more clear picture of the data we're going to have. Now, I'm going to mark the first thing I'm going to mark is the minimum at 10 and the maximum at 21. And then I'm going to mark the median at 14 and the first quartile at 12 and the last quartile at 19. And then I'm going to draw the box on the middle 50%, okay? There's 50% of the data that's going to lie within that box right there. And then the whiskers go on the outer 25%, okay? Now, as I look at this, here's an interesting observation. It looks like the first quartile and the last quartile have the same number of data points. It's the same width. Those points aren't very spread out. But when we compare the second quartile with the third or even the first and the last, it looks to me like these data points are more tightly, they're just positioned closer together, okay? And so this right here might be more of what he's more consistent, more what he's capable of doing, or she, okay? When we get the data points more spread out, then it looks like he or she may have a good game every now and then, but they're not as consistent as right in here in this range, okay? So again, the picture helps us to be able to analyze and ask questions and determine things about all those numbers, especially when you get into taking a large amount of numbers into consideration, okay? Now, this was over a 7-game span, okay? Over here, we're not talking points anymore, I don't think. Well, I'm going to talk grades, okay? So if I was to say, hey, a boy or a girl, actually, you know what? I'm just going to say that this is a class of grades. And you'll notice here, instead of having 7, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 scores on the test, okay? Now, I'm going to start out by working backwards. I'm going to start out with my scales. So I'll start out with 65, and I'll go up every 10, 75, 85, 95, and 100, okay? Oh, I did this mistake earlier. 105 and 115, okay? So going up 10 every time. Now, what's my minimum, what's my maximum? Well, we can identify those right off the bat. 65 and 100. 95, 97, 99, 100. Going to be about right there, okay? Now, what's my middle number? Well, if I go ahead and take these out, one at a time, you'll notice that these two, so these are 1, 2, 3. These two come together. So what do you think we should do? Well, I'm hoping you're thinking that we want to take the average. So if I go ahead and take the average here of 85 and 88, add them together and divide by 2, that's going to give me 86.5, okay? 86.5 is my middle number now, okay? Now from here, actually I can mark that down, 85, 87, so I'm going to mark it right there. That's my median number. Now if I take this set of data, these numbers right here, and I find the middle 50%, 85 and 65 cancel off, and these two, I have to find the middle of these two numbers, okay? So 72 to 79, that's 7, so 3.5, so this is 75.5. That's my first quartile, so I'm going to mark that one in, okay? And if I do the same thing to the last quartile, 88 and 100 cancel out, so we have to find the middle between these two. 92 plus 100 divided by 2 should give me 96, okay, as my third quartile. Okay, so 95, 97 right in between, 96. Okay, so as we look here, here's the first 25%, here's the second 25%, here's the third 25%, and here's the last 25%. Okay, so as we take a look, let's see here, boxing up that middle 50%. Okay. Now, as I look at this, looks to me like these two quartiles, and maybe even this one, are all pretty evenly spaced, but everything gets pretty tight up here. Okay, so it's just an observation. It looks like the median was right in between the two. If I go back to this one, the median lied more to this side than to the other side. Okay. And so, again, it's just an observation, but once you have those observations, you can start to check, you can start to ask questions that maybe reveal some things that are of deeper meaning. So, what do I want you guys to do? I would like you to create a box and whisker plot based on these values down here, okay? Now, it looks to me like the top value is 81.6, and the minimum value is in the 30s. So let's try to make it so that we all are on the same page with this. If I was to make this 30 and go up 15 every time, let's try that. Let's see what that would look like. 45, 60, 75, 90. Okay. I think that's pretty good. I think that'll help spread things out a little bit. So if we do 15 every time, every 3, these would be 8, because there's 5 marks, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be 78, 81, 84, 87, 90. Okay. So just something to think about as you try to put down that graph. Again, don't forget, what do we have to do first with our values here? Well, you're going to order these for Pullman. You can do that off the side over here, or down below if you're able to write all that right in there. And you're going to order Seattle, okay, from least to greatest. And then you start finding those different data points. The min, the max, the median, the first quartile, and the third quartile, okay? Let's see if you can write a little description up there for me too, okay? Hey, you've been a great audience. I appreciate your time, and yeah, we'll see you at the next school day. Thank you. Bye.